In the early 90s, there was a breakout of punk music in the small community of Berkeley, California. And there would be a band that came from this community that would change the rock scene and history of music as we know it today.
Here we go again.
It all started in 1972 when someone named Billy Joe Armstrong was born and had a burning passion for music. In 1983, on his 8th birthday, he got a guitar that he would call Blue from his mother, and with this guitar he would learn how to make music. After he got his guitar, he quickly formed a band named Sweet Children. As they played together, they got better and better, and started to write their own songs under the name Green Day instead of Sweet Children. The first song they would write together was 1,000 Hours, and this song would go on their first album named 1039 Smooth That Slappy Hours, otherwise known as 39 Smooth. With this album, they would start their music career and gain recognition in the community around them.
Kerplunk was the next record they made. They recorded this over the course of 1991 from May to September, and it was released December of the same year. This album cost around $2,000, which was relatively expensive for them at the time. They had this money from the slight success of their previous album. So back to this one. This album exploded compared to their previous album, which sold 3,000 albums within the first year. And this one sold 10,000 within the first day, which is really quite impressive for them at the time. And with this success, they were able to get the money and fame they would need to get signed to a major record label. And with this, they would make one of, if not the biggest album they will ever make. Dookie, this is the album which changed Green Day forever. After the release of this album, they would get to the exposure they needed to play their biggest concert ever, and the name of this concert is Woodstock 94. At the time, they weren't as big as some of the other artists playing there, some examples being Aerosmith, Metallica, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and the Cranberries. So it truly was a big festival, and they were a very small part of it. But something would happen there that would bring even more fame to them. There would be a mud fight, and the fight would be where Billy Joe Armstrong, the lead singer, would throw mud at the crowd, which would lead to the mud fight, becoming famous and bringing Green Day on its way. Also, this album is almost completely singles, with songs like Longview, Welcome to Paradise, Basket Case, She, and When I Come Around. Those are all songs off of one album, and all those songs are still played in movies, streams, and I would say this is pretty revolutionary because all of these things from this one album are still talked about and known 30 years after release of it.
In September of 1996, a new band named Weezer released an album named Pinkerton. In this album, they had a song called El Scorcho. In El Scorcho, the lead singer, Rivers Cuomo, has this verse. I asked you to go to the Green Day concert. You said you never heard of them. How cool is that? So I went to your room and read your diary. Watching grunge leg drop New Jack to a press table, and then my heart stopped, listening to COCO song, Fall in Love all over again. He mentioned a Green Day concert, and while it may not first be obvious, Weezer is heavily influenced by Green Day, taking inspiration from their sound and lyrics. Weezer is one of the most infamous pop-punk bands, right up there with Blink-182. Blink-182 is another big band of the time, and they were also big fans of Green Day, taking some inspiration from them. One of the biggest instances of inspiration from them is when main singer Mark Hoppus wore a shirt of the Green Day Kerplunk album and a photo of him smiling. And this was before they were a known band, so this is showing that they were fans even before they became popular themselves. Another instance in which they were influenced by Green Day is that Blink-182's hit song, What's My Age Again, was accidentally wrote by lead singer, yet again, Mark Hoppus. And he said in an interview, and I quote, I played it incorrectly and I was kind of like, oh, that's kind of cool. And that was the basis for the opening riff of the song. Me trying to learn how to play J-A-R on guitar and mixing it up and coming up with something that I liked and was different than that. Those are just some of the reasons that Blink-182 was also influenced by Green Day, and they were a big influence at the time.
When you're 23, and I'm still born of these when pain. Don't wanna be an American idiot. Don't want a nation under the new media. Hey, can you hear the sound of hysteria? The subliminal mindfuck America.
American Idiot. This is the album that kept Green Day alive to this day. This album came out 10 years later after Dookie, and it truly brought them back into the mainstream as them not being as big as they once were. This album is massive, and when I say massive, it was bigger than Dookie or anything before it. This album sold 23 million copies worldwide, and this is a bunch for any album ever. And this album was so big that they made a Broadway show about it, and it told a story based off the album and the lyrics within it. They went around the world playing the show to many, many different people, telling them about the story. Another thing that is important is another person that had a Broadway show is Michael Jackson, and he's a massive artist. Some people call him the king of pop, and he had a Broadway show, and so did Green Day.
Do you wanna be rescued? Just pick up and leave. Live the life since I met you. Together we'll never be. Short-lived innocence.
Here, we're on our way to go see Mr. Full, and he's a famous member of a band. And this band is called Gran Torino. He was the drummer of this band. You've never heard of Gran Torino? What? They're the biggest band ever. And we're going to meet this other person. He's somebody famous in the family. And his name is Mr. Reed. We're going to see him too. He was also a famous member of a famous band. So, let's go see them now. I think we're about to die.
Something simple in me.
How did you get into the music that you're passionate about now? And what bands at the time influenced your music making for Gran Torino?
I guess just as a very young child, I started listening to music. And I listened to a bunch of different types of music. Tower of Power, okay?
Yeah.
Sly and the Family Stone, okay? You had Marvin Gaye.
What other genres did you listen to at the time also had effect on Gran Torino?
Maybe like Jamiroquai. Okay,
Yeah.
they kind of hit the scene, but in a bigger way, and they were a big time influence.
As your band was coming up at the time that Green Day was also coming up as well, what stood out to you about Green Day in general?
One of the bands that kind of recreated the old punk, but then breaking it back out into a new way.
What influence do you think that Green Day had on other genres, such as your own genre? And do you think, what else did they influence in their own genre and their own scene as well?
They had an influence on like Blink-182. They had an influence on a lot of music that was going on around it. Okay, how about this? All music. Think about it.
So that's the end of the interview. So thank you for your time. I really appreciate all the stuff.
Glad to help.
We have the drummer of Gran Torino.
You were in a band in California around the time Green Day was popular, correct?
Yeah?
What genre was that band that you were in?
Screamo.
How do you feel that Green Day may have influenced you and your former bandmates?
They definitely had an influence on how we viewed fashion.
So guys,
We wore all black.
or all black?
Just the time period was all band shirts, skate shirts, anything.